Hi, this is Lindel Hart, and by special request, I'm going to do a series of Zoom fatigue yoga breaks. A lot of you are doing classes online, taking classes online, doing meetings for work, and people have started to notice that Zoom fatigue is setting in. Come to stand in Tadasana, mountain pose, with your feet parallel to each other. And then interlace your hands behind your back. Now, when you do this, keep your palms open rather than clamping them shut. And extend your arms downward. This is going to help pull your shoulders away from your ears and start stretching out from right up around the back of the jaw down through the top of the shoulder. So you start with that. It also begins to open the chest a little more. And then I'd like you to start gently pressing your arms away from your body. Now, this does not have to be an extreme amount. You may even be able to feel a lot of this yielding to the stretch right here, just with the hands and the arms pressing back a few inches from your back body. Now, if you feel like going further, you can. Just know that if you're really tight in the shoulders or in this upper back and shoulder area, you may not want to go too far. And just keep pressing back, making sure that you're keeping your spine aligned, rising up out of your pelvis, your head floating at the very top of the spine. Let's take one more breath here, and then relax your arms at your sides. The second thing that we're going to do is just a simple shoulder roll. Now, you can do this just by rolling your shoulders this way, or you can take your arms forward, turn the palms up, bend your elbows, and bring your fingertips onto your shoulders. And now you just float the shoulders up as you inhale, and as you exhale, release the arms out and down. And do that several times. And your fingertips, as they rest on the shoulders, just give you a little feedback as to where you're holding tension and when you begin to release it. Good, let's do one more, and then release, and let your arms come to your sides again. Good, so that's just opened up your chest a lot. Now, we're going to continue some of what we started with the hands behind the back. We're going to come into Urdhva Hastasana, upward salute, but instead of taking the arms parallel, what I'm going to have you do is interlace your fingers, press your arms forward to start with. Now, when you do that much, there is a tendency to start rounding the upper back, but we want to counteract that by drawing the shoulders back, the shoulder blades moving in toward the spine. And then you begin floating your arms up toward the ceiling, keeping that interlace of the fingers. Good, so I'm going to come down onto my knees so you just see the entire length of the torso. Now, if you feel a little tingling sensation in your arms, your hands, your shoulders, that's not unusual. Don't be alarmed. Just release your arms down, let everything relax for a moment, and then you can do it again. You might want to do that a couple of times, giving yourself a little break in between. Now, next thing we're going to do is a standing side bend. So walk your feet apart. They can be about 2 feet apart, maybe even a little wider if you like. And bring your hands onto your hips. Shift your hips out to the left, and then bring them back to center and shift them out to the right. You're just rocking the pelvis back and forth. So that's going to start loosening up in the pelvis and around the sacrum as you swing the hips gently side to side. You can also, if you want, add a circular motion so that instead of just side to side, you're moving the hips to the side, forward, to the other side, and back. And then you're going to want to reverse the direction and go the other way around. And bring it back to center. And now let's take those side bends. So you're going to keep your right hand on the hip, lift the left arm, and then reach out to the side, keeping your chest open forward. Try to avoid rounding over that side, but keep the chest open. Maybe even think of that top shoulder floating back a little bit. So as you reach out to the side with your left fingers, press the hips to the opposite side. And then come back up and release. And let's take the second side. Hips move to the right, right arm lifts, and you extend out to the left, lengthening through the side torso, opening up that shoulder, reaching through the fingers. And let's take just a couple of breaths here. And then you can come back up and release your hand. Good. One other thing I'd like to do is to give you a standing downward dog. This can be done in a couple of ways. You can do it at a wall, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. Or you can use the back of a chair or even a kitchen countertop. So, when you do a standing downward dog, you're basically taking a half forward bend. You'll stand about 3 feet away from the wall. You bring your hands onto the wall, press your hips back, and slide or walk your hands down until they're no lower than hip height. They might even be higher than that. You don't want to bring your hands down too far, because then you're going to start dipping down and over-rotating the shoulder. So you want to just bring it down to about here. As you press your hands into the wall, think of your sitting bones moving back. You get a little hamstring stretch as well as a spine lengthener, shoulder opener, multi-beneficial stretch here. Good. And you can do that a number of times. Now, if you're using the back of a chair, you just bring your hands onto the chair and walk your feet back. Same idea. Same thing with a kitchen counter. You're just going to place your hands on the counter, walk your feet back, try to keep your legs as vertical as possible so you really get that almost 90-degree bend from the hips. All right, take a breath in, and as you exhale, fold forward, letting your knees softly bend. And breathe. Let your head just hang at the end of your spine in this forward bend. Take a couple of breaths here, and then slowly roll back up to stand. And thank you for joining me for this Zoom fatigue yoga break. Namaste.